Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 59 of the Showbound podcast. I'm your host, Michael Raskin, here alongside San Jose Sharks prospect Ethan Cardwell. Cards, what's going on? You're sitting at home or in Barrie right now doing nothing?
Yeah, not too much. I mean, I'm gassed from the day though. We had early morning workout, and then I did some therapy and like a little bit of a workout like after that, just kind of mobility and stuff like that. And then just some quick video, and then a nice practice push and pace with a little bagger at the end. So the legs are a little exhausted, so gonna look for a nice nap before dinner after we wrap up the pod here.
Yeah. Now, I thought you guys were, so you're not shut down, just the game's postponed?
No, there's no like we play this weekend.
I thought you were off till the 13th.
No, because the 5-day quarantine, everything changes. So
Oh, okay.
instead of our guys having the quarantine for 10 days and shutting us all down, we only had to do 5 days, and then everybody with no symptoms was able to come back.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that. I forgot. Well, I had noted down here with the new COVID restrictions in Ontario that I guess as the day everyone's listening to this, that's when they go live. But for those who don't know, like it's shut down the OUA for at least for January. I'm sure you've seen that, cards.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of those Instagram posts to kind of like put them into the elite athlete category, which like I don't see. Like I saw a tweet today, and I agree with it. Like I feel like everybody should be able to play. Like obviously I know it's they're doing what they're doing, and I don't have any comments on that, but I hate the fact that not everybody gets to play the game, and especially OUA athletes. Like it said, like a 20-year-old in the OHL, in a few months he'll be in the OUA. So what's the difference, you know?
Yeah, like he's elite, and then 3 months later he's no longer elite. It doesn't really make sense, especially because we just tweeted out from the Brock account, our former goalie Logan Thompson's getting his first NHL start tonight for the Vegas Golden Knights. So like guys are going right to the NHL. A former U Sports goalie just played for San Jose 2 days ago. Like a lot of good talent comes out, and I don't know how it's not elite. But I also feel for the junior A kids, cards, because you would know, like, you played in the OJ too, and those are guys who are looking for college scholarships or looking to go to U Sports, and now they can't showcase themselves. Like if you're an overager right now in junior A, it's got to be tough.
Well, right, and a lot of guys choose not to play in the OHL who have like scholarships and stuff, and they decide, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna play in the OJ, and then I'll go to my school from there, and that's kind of taken away from them obviously now. And I don't think like everyone, we could argue this point I think all day for a multitude of different sports and different categories in sports, and I just think it's a crummy situation all around, and I really hope that we can come out of lockdown when it's scheduled to on January 26th, so then
Yeah.
everyone get back on the ice.
The one thing that bugs me, not to like put anyone else down, but high school basketball is considered elite, but like OUA basketball is not. And where's the logic there? Like high school basketball can still play right now, cards.
Like, but no, because they're online learning.
I don't know. It says under the list of elite leagues, it's the high school basketball league.
Mm.
Anyway.
That's weird.
But like, yeah, everyone's leaving the OUA. Like like I'm not gonna say any names, but like half the team is just going to the coast already, and like you'll see all over Twitter soon. Like all your buddies too everyone's leaving. Like especially because school's online, you might as well. But
So here's my question to you then. So these guys who all go to the coast, say they're off Brock for the whole year, aren't they? Or can they come back?
no, I mean they could come back, but they'd have to sit a year of school of playing now, like a 1 year from the date of their last pro game.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
but I mean, I'm hoping, and the OUA hasn't said anything about this. I'm hoping they say like anyone who's left the OUA to play in the coast this year and then doesn't sign for next year can come back without losing eligibility because of this like extreme circumstance. Like it's possible that they do something like that. They haven't said if they will, but it affects recruiting too. Like I talked to an OHL kid like yesterday, cards, and I was telling him about that. He's like, "Is the OUA even gonna play next year?" And like I'm just like, I don't know. What do I even say at this point?
Well, of course, like it's making your job like extremely tough. Now you have to, like, if they don't change that rule too, you have to bring in half of a squad to make a new team for next year. First off, you have to
Yeah.
find players that like are good enough to fill those roles, which is going to be hard to do as well. And then on top of that, you have the uncertainty again, because guys in the OUA have been there for 2 years and haven't even played games. And I feel for those guys. Like, no wonder these guys are chomping at the bit to go to the coast and like just play hockey. Like
Yeah.
it's so long and it's tough. And I can only imagine the predicament you're going to be in here now, just trying to recruit. It's going to be you're going to be doing a lot of talking.
And then if we did bring in like 14 guys and then the OUA is like, yeah, you guys can come back because of this circumstance. And then we're sending guys home like that. Anyway, we don't need to get into it, but like, how was your New Year's, man? Like, what did you get up to?
Oh, so much. Yeah, no, nothing. Just hung out at home with my family, just us four. And I don't even like, I was in bed before midnight. Like I was in bed at like 10:30 and I just stayed up anyway, just on my phone watching TikToks. But like, there's nothing to do. And like, I didn't want to risk going out and getting anything before kind of we came back to Barrie and then all of this is unfolded. But you do anything?
Nah, me and my brother stayed up on the couch watching TV. My mom was asleep on the couch. My dad was, I think, asleep in his room there. And then I went to bed at like 12:01.
Yeah, it's the most uneventful New Year of all time. Like that's back-to-back New Years where I've done nothing because last year I was like self-quarantining just so I didn't get COVID before I went to Sweden. Because it was like a year ago, 2 days ago that I went to.
Man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It feels like forever ago. But we talked about gifts last year or last episode on the podcast, and I didn't get mine yet. And I snapped to see, but one of the gifts I got from my girlfriend was a box of Titleist Pro V1 balls. And
yeah,
you saw what I snapped you. I'm terrified to use these things, man.
well, it's like that too. Like I got shoes and I love them, and it's like, well, I don't really want to wear them outside because I don't want to get them dirty. It's like the same thing teeing up a Pro V1. Like well, especially like higher handicappers, like you go onto a hole, that's got to be like the ball where it's like, okay, like scan the hole. All right, no trouble there, no trouble there. Okay, I can't lose a ball here unless I do something incredibly bad. And then when you get to the holes with water, back in the bag, bring out the top flights.
Exactly. And even just any trees or water, I'm going with the top flights or anything else. Yeah. And the range ball.
You gotta just set up shop. I don't know. Yeah, you gotta have a whole bag full of bad ones, and then just know that you're hitting into a wide open field, basically, if you're bringing out the Pro Vs.
Remember when we golfed at what was that place in Stouffville we went? What was it called? Spring Lakes, was it?
Spring Lakes, yeah.
Yeah. I was golfing at Spring Lakes with Sam Brook, and he 5 holes in, like he's having an unreal round, and he's like, all right, I'm taking out a Pro V1. Like he was feeling it, and he tees up this Pro V1 and shanks it into the woods, and he starts like throwing a fit, right? He's like, that was a Pro V1. Then the rest of his round, because once in golf, once you're mentally gone, like you're toast. And he just had a horrible round, and now I'm just nervous after seeing that go down. But
and you know what else, bro? Like they're $5 a ball too. Like it's legit. Like it's all like, okay, like I can afford to lose a few. It's like, damn, like that's a $5 bill every time. Like I might as well just go to the garbage and throw a $5 bill in it.
Yeah. I'd rather get a couple drinks on the course. If you lose 5 Pro V1s, you can get yourself a meal and a drink while you're playing,
Exactly.
Yeah. The one thing I did want to talk about on this episode, and we were messaging back and forth about it, was the whole, and I talked about this like a year ago, but the whole posting Starbucks on your Instagram story thing, man, it's getting me really rattled. Like I sent you one, and dude, it's ridiculous. Like if you're posting Starbucks on your story, okay, maybe a one-off is one thing, or if you're trying to make like an artsy photo of some kind. If you're posting your iced coffee every day on your Insta story, on your Snapchat story, it's ridiculous. And I don't know why you're doing it.
I know you have a big problem with this. I got an easier problem, like a way for you to like fix this. Just like remove all the people that do that, and then you won't have to deal with it anymore. That's a quick fix for you.
I might have to, but it's just ridiculous that it's gotten to the point where it annoys me. And it's not a brag, like posting that you get Starbucks. Actually, I want to talk about this one. A funny story that happened to me this week. It wasn't funny at the time though, but I don't know if I can even say this. I work for a company that does analytics for NHL games. That's what I do at night. And when I worked the long shift, I was working a 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. and I get myself a Starbucks to like get me through the shift. I need a coffee, like makes me happy. I don't post it or anything, but so there's a Starbucks on my way, and it said it was temporarily closed because like all their staff had COVID or something. They couldn't get staff. So I go to another one. This one's also temporary closed. I'm like driving for 30 minutes at this point. I find I'm going to the other one. I put my GPS and there's a road closed to get there. And I don't know where I am now. Like I'm already lost and the GPS doesn't recognize that the road's closed. So when I'm going off and trying to go around it, it keeps making me do a U-turn and come back because it doesn't realize what I'm doing. So now I ended up driving for like an hour. I got the Starbucks at this third one and I'm going back. And my car was in Whitby there getting service. So I was using my mom's car, which is a mess. The cup holders are full of other stuff. So I put it in like the door holder. And as I park and I'm getting out, I pick up the coffee, like the Starbucks out of the door holder. And I grabbed it by the top of the lid and the lid came off and like almost the whole drink spilled out. And I was driving for an hour, 3 different Starbucks. I was about to kick the car. I was gonna lose it, man. It was unbelievable.
I get like I'm cool till a point where just like something just ticks me off, and like I probably wouldn't go to that extreme to go get it, but like if that happened to me at the end of that all, I would just throw a fit. Like I would just freak out. Like that's the worst luck you could ever have.
It was
I
brutal.
right
And well, so after the second one, I was like, okay, I'll just go to Tim's. But the Tim's I knew that was near there was closed. So I was like, whatever. I've already been to 2. Like I'm gonna get my Starbucks. Like I'm determined. And so that's why I went through with it. If the Tim's was open, I would have just ripped the Tim's. But anyway, that was brutal. But do you want to tee up the guests we have this week before we get into some headlines?
Yeah, we're pleased to be joined this week by Tristen Robins, San Jose Sharks prospect, 2020 draft second rounder, currently playing for the Saskatoon Blades in WHL, and he's on a heater of a year this year. So it's a good interview that we're looking forward to getting out there. Kind of, he's a personable guy too, so it's nice to have him on.
Yeah, and couple weeks or months in the AHL last year with the COVID situation, that he got to spend some time in the A for the Barracuda, and we get into that with him. So we'll get that to you guys in a bit. But a couple of headlines. There was so many news stories in hockey this week. So I just had to pick a couple. The first one, I guess this is cool. Everyone's heard of it by now, though. But the Seattle Kraken fan, Nadia Popovici, I hope I'm reading that right, saved the life of Vancouver Canucks trainer Brian Hamilton after noticing a cancerous mole on the back of his neck during a game. Did you see that? And just to add before I flip it to you, the Canucks and Kraken gave her a $10,000 scholarship towards her med school.
Yeah, I saw that. That was awesome. Credit to her for like kind of speaking up about it. Like when she saw it, like I feel like even if like you see something, like I feel like it's kind of still like a bit awkward to like say to someone like, hey, you have like a mold that could be like cancerous and stuff. So like, and I wonder like people would take that offensively too. I think sometimes like if somebody told you, you'd be like, what do you mean? Like, stop talking to me, like whatever.
Yeah.
But like, great that it happened. Like it's super fortunate that she happened to be sitting there and it worked out like that. And it's just an incredible feel good story. And obviously it's amazing for Mr. Hamilton. Is that his name? Right? Yeah. Him and his family, obviously, to know he's much better off now, and kind of just perfect timing in the perfect place at the right time.
Yeah. And for those who don't know, it was at the first game at the Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle when it happened. And I guess she had wrote it on her phone and was banging the glass to get his attention, and he kind of like shrugged it off. And then she changed the font to make it brighter and bigger to really get his attention, and was banging on the glass the whole time. And then, through Twitter and Facebook, they tracked her down, brought her to the most recent Canucks Kraken game, and they met and gave her the scholarship. It was a cool story. So one, a rare story. You don't really see anything like that. So that was cool. Everyone kind of knows the story by now, but wanted to share that. Let's get your take on this one. Members of the Russian World Junior team escorted by police off the plane on the way home from the World Juniors.
Bro, I heard about that. And the crazy thing, like my first thought about it was like, okay, like who should I text to find out what happened? Because obviously like any other team, like kind of you have connections and you can kind of figure out what happened before like it breaks the news and stuff like that. So I'm thinking about it, and then I'm like, wow, okay, yeah, they didn't bring any North American guys like this year. They missed out on like guys in our league like Gushin, Chaika, Petrov, just to name a few. So I'm like sitting there, I'm like, wow. So I'm reading online and it was crazy. Like just I don't even know like how that even comes to happening, or just it kind of blows my mind. What do you think about it?
I don't know. Like, did they not know they're on a commercial plane? That's the thing I'm wondering. Like, if it's a private jet, like, sure, if it's chartered, but do you not recognize there's other people? And then the one other thing I guess was when they were being asked to stop, why don't they just stop? Like, why did it get to the point where police had to escort people off? That's what I don't understand, how it got that far.
Yeah, I feel like honestly part of it too is like frustration boiling over from the World Juniors being canceled, which I can understand, but obviously you never act out like that
Yeah.
kind of in
I
that
heard
way.
they were
But
all buckled too, and like the drinking age in Alberta is only 18, so all of them are old enough to drink, right? Like most of them.
oh, that's that explains a lot more then.
Yeah. It was interesting. Two more headlines here, but I mean, on the topic of World Juniors, we got Connor Bedard's World Junior Tournament, and then to add on, scored 4 goals, including the overtime winner in his first game back in the dub. What do you think of his performance?
Well, yeah, it's interesting, right? Because he went to the World Juniors only at a point per game in the WHL, and kind of what a lot of people thought was like a slow start. And he got the opportunity to go to camp and made it a no-brainer that they had to take him by dominating those U Sports games. And then obviously we all saw his brilliance he put on in the tournament. So without question, he's a special player, and he's going to be a special player for years to come, along with Mitchkov in that 2023 draft class. But no, I think it was incredible. It's just that it's the confidence thing. He goes back, he scores 4 goals in 2 games, 4 in 1 game, really. And you go back to the WHL and you kind of think, wow, like if I can do it at that level, there's no reason I shouldn't be doing this every night at this level. So I also saw the stat line that night. He had 13 shots on goal, which is just incredible. That's a shooter. And I talked to Fetz after the tournament, and he said that's one of the best shots he's ever seen in his life. And obviously he's been skating with the Jets and skating with very high end players at the World Championship and all of that. So to be put in that category by a player like Fetz, it's he's got a lot of talent, and I'm looking forward to see him kind of progress. What are your thoughts on his tournament and where he's going to be going?
Yeah, I mean, well, first, I completely agree with what you said and the confidence going back to the dub now, but it's just crazy to think 16 years old. Okay, it's unbelievable, man. This guy could play in like 5 World Juniors, but he won't because he'll be in the show soon, and they probably won't let him go because he's gonna be putting up points there. Um, I don't know, man. It just the whole thing was crazy. Like he really is an unbelievable player. Um, last one here, and this is one that we can discuss. Gary Bettman has asked the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, to move hockey to the Summer Olympics. What do you think of that? Like, it wouldn't mess with the NHL season. Um, everyone can go. Like, what do you think?
That's an interesting one. I haven't heard about that too. So you're kind of getting my fresh take on things here. I haven't even had time to think about this one, but I I could see where they're coming from, but I also just like it. I guess like for most other Olympic sports, like it's like all right, like that's when it falls. Like this is when it's happening, and like that's what those athletes are training for. Like the NHL players aren't training for the Olympics for 4 years. They're training to be the best they can in the National League. So I feel like that could make sense in a way. Um, Definitely, it would allow everybody to go without any issues. Anybody who wants to go and is like good enough to make it can go play, which would ease things up a lot too. But I feel like it's been a part of it for so long that I don't really know. What do you think?
Okay. I like the idea, obviously, of NHL players going to the Olympics, whether it's summer or winter. I don't care as long as it happens. Now, if it was a situation where they can't go in the winter ever, and they can only go in the summer, then I think they should try to make that happen. But then the other question is, then what about the women? Do the women also move to the summer, or does that stay in the winter? And so there's a lot of other things to think about. Obviously, people like who are a lot smarter than we are making those decisions. But I think if they could do that, and then you don't need a long pause in the NHL season, like it doesn't mess with the NHL at all if that's the case. So I do think that's kind of the ideal scenario from the NHL perspective. From a fan perspective, you know, I guess we don't feel hockey as much in the summer. I know everyone would be fired up for the Olympics no matter when, but you're definitely in the mood, come January, February to watch hockey. There's no doubt about that. So I think personally, I'd rather it stay in the winter if NHL players can go. But like I said, if it came down to they can't go ever in the winter, then like move it to summer. Like let's get the NHL players going there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like you look at all the memories that have like kind of come from like Olympic hockey, like TJ Sochi, they call him just because of that shootout performance. It was incredible. You
Yeah.
obviously have golden goal for Crosby. Those are the only two that like I can really remember off the top of my head because I was only old enough for those two, and you haven't really. Or actually, 2018 they didn't go.
Yeah,
and now
go.
2022 we're having all these problems. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but we'll see. That's not a bad proposal if they can't go during the regular season, because like I totally agree with what you said. Like I'd rather watch hockey in the winter, like along with all the other Olympic sports in the winter. And like it's the same thing with the World Juniors being pushed back. Like obviously you want to get those players a chance to play. It's just like, will the ratings be there and stuff? Will it be the same as it was? But you want to give all those players who made it for their last and maybe first time on those teams the chance to represent their country at the World Junior.
Yep, exactly. And that's all we got here. I think with that being said, let's send it over to Tristen Robins.
All right, we're pleased to be joined here this week on the pod by Tristen Robins. Robby, how you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, of course. And just quickly before we kind of backtrack on your whole career here, just want to check in on this season. I know seeing your stats, you've been kind of popping off this year in the Dubs. So how's it been going?
It's been going good. Things have kind of slowed down a bit with COVID. It seems that every team is in double digits with cases right now. So it's been a bit of a zoo in Western Canada, but things started off well for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can't complain too bad. We're in lockdown again here in Ontario, so it's getting ugly. At least you guys are still trucking through and playing. I saw you had a 6-point night the other night, or 7 maybe. Oh.
Yeah, it was 6.
Oh wow! So what was going on that game? Just like I saw it was 5 apples too, eh?
Yeah, 5 apples. We had a kind of a back and forth game against Red Deer. We were actually up 5-2. And let some squeaky ones through and ended up taking them all the way through overtime into the shootout. And ended up losing that game 7-6.
No.
Yeah.
Imagine getting 6 points and losing.
It was crazy.
And losing 7-6 too. Like you were in on every goal.
Yeah, but it was nuts. It was such a frustrating game. We'd score and then they'd both score right back.
Did you score in the shootout?
I did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so technically a 7-point night.
Yeah, that loss is not on you.
Yeah, no, you literally did every single thing you could to win that game. Still couldn't happen, but it is what it is.
Yeah, well, firstly, what are those sticky notes on your wall? Are you in your own room?
No, I'm not right now. I'm actually in my girlfriend's room at her house for supper.
Okay. She likes to write on the walls or what?
Yeah, I think that's kind of maybe where paintings or pictures are going to go. I don't really know. I'd kind of let her do her own thing.
Okay. Well, anyway, moving into hockey stuff. I noticed your father played for the Saskatoon Blades as well, so following in his footsteps there. And from what I can understand, you grew up while he was still playing pro hockey. Is that right?
Yeah, you're right. He retired a couple years, I guess, after I was born. But for the first couple of years, he dragged me and my mom along in Europe. Actually, we were in London for kind of the back end of his career.
Now, were you born in London?
Yeah, I was.
Okay, so how long did you live there for? And do you have any memories of your dad's pro career?
I don't have any memories. I've seen pictures and stuff, but kind of back and forth for a few seasons. I think maybe 3 or 4 years. Just back to Canada in the summers, like off season, I guess, and then back there in the winters. But I think we moved to Canada full time and kind of started our life here when I think I was around 6 years old. But not a lot of memories from back then.
Okay. So did you ever play minor hockey over there? Or did you start when you came to Canada?
I started when I came to Canada.
So you started actually a little bit late compared to everyone. And like, do you ever go back and visit?
I've actually never been back. We've planned on going, but things just haven't worked out. Like growing up with like spring hockey and summer hockey, we just ran out of time.
Yeah, for sure. Schedule can get packed for sure.
Yeah.
We want to kind of, what we do here, we go through all the whole career, kind of touch on every base that you've kind of went through. So I want to start with the WHL draft going back a while now. And you were a 4th round pick to the WHL. The Regina Pats, played 1 game for them in your underage year. Tell us about that experience a little bit.
Yeah, so the draft day, I was actually in school in grade 9, back in Brandon, Manitoba. Wasn't really sure when I was going to get picked or whatever, because at the time I didn't have an agent or anything. So it was just kind of my dad and I on the phone, kind of going back and forth. Regina selected me in the 4th round, and funny enough, they took my buddy, I believe, in the first or the 2nd round, is Cole Muir. him and I grew up playing together. So we're talking to each other that day and pretty fired up about that. I went to camp when I was 16, or I guess when I was 15, just to kind of feel things out. And then, the year after that, I went to camp, first eligible year in the dub. Had a pretty good camp. I had a couple goals in preseason. And that was the year they were hosting the Memmer. So I really had no chance in cracking that squad. Did everything I could. Played one game, played the home opener. I think I only had about 3 shifts. And then, got sent down right after that. And then shortly after, towards the trade deadline, I was moved over to Saskatoon.
Cards, I don't know if you know this. I might have talked about it before. And for the listeners, I actually broadcasted that Mem Cup on Sportsnet Radio in Regina. And I went to the Brand Center and saw that team. And who was it? Max Paddock in goal.
Yeah. 17-year-old goalie.
Yeah. And he was buzzing. And so I actually got to go to Regina that year. It would have been funny if you were on that team at that point. But I just wanted to plug myself there, give myself a shout out on the pod.
Yeah. I never knew that. That's actually pretty sick, Rask. So yeah. I guess, Robby, you kind of led into that for us. So you go to Saskatoon that year and played a few more games for them. How did you kind of find that level of play, like as a young kid? How'd you find yourself kind of integrating into that?
At the time, I thought it was actually quite a big jump. A year after, I actually hit a huge growth spurt. So at the time, I think I was like maybe 5'6", 130 pounds, like just a little guy. Like a really, really little guy. So I felt really slow out there, just pretty small compared to everyone else. But that was probably the biggest thing, is just the size difference and the speed, because I was used to playing in midget, and even in midget when I was 16, I wasn't really playing a whole lot. So I think that it was a bit of an eye opener for sure when I got called up to Saskatoon.
One of the things, we've had a couple dub guys on, not too many, but we've never really asked, what's the travel like in the dub? Obviously a lot further for games. Are you guys rocking sleeper buses ever and stuff like that?
I think there was a rule put in place a couple of years ago where they're no longer allowed due to safety issues or something. But there's only 3 or 4 teams in the whole league out of 20 teams that actually had them in the past. So for us, we're in the Eastern Division, which is just mostly just the plain old prairies in Alberta. So the furthest game in our division is 8 hours. That's the absolute furthest. Out of division play, our furthest drive would be somewhere in probably down to Portland in Oregon, which is 23 hours, I think. But we'd only do that once a year. So we'd do one swing out west every year. Otherwise, we just stay in our division, kind of our conference, I guess.
Yeah, and how do you guys so you only really so how many times are you gonna play out of division teams? Like not a lot.
Only twice. Yeah.
Wow. So how many times do you play teams in your division then per year?
Oh, usually closer to 6 or 8 per team.
Okay.
But I mean, one year, my first year in Saskatoon full time when I was 17, we ended up playing PA, I think 16 times one year, including playoffs and preseason. And we hate playing PA because it's that's our rivalry team of the whole league. And so it's a bloodbath every time we play them, and we played them almost 20 times that year.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
The dub's crazier than the O2, physically, I think. Would you agree with that?
I think it really just kind of depends on the personnel on the team. But there's been, for sure, a couple guys you got to look out for on some teams that have, been here in the past. It's kind of cleaned up a little bit, especially in our division. I don't think there's really anyone who, you actually have to really pay attention when they're on the ice. But yeah, there's, if you Google it, you'll probably find some funny stuff.
Oh yeah. Have you ever shed the mitts yet?
No, nothing like crazy. I got into a couple wrestling matches over the years, but the refs are pretty damn quick to jump in nowadays. Like even here, we had a scrum. I wasn't playing the other night, but we had a guy squaring up with someone, and right when they shed the mitts, the refs jumped in. So I don't know what that's all about, or if they're just trying to get it out of the game. But yeah, it's probably a little bit frustrating to be those guys.
Yeah, I saw that in the NHL too a couple nights ago. I can't remember who it was, but they're at all levels. Really, they're cracking down hard. But I mean, continuing on with the dub, obviously you go and like you mentioned, the first full season with Saskatoon there. And you got to play with Kirby Doc. So I'm curious, and the listeners definitely want to know, what's he like as a teammate off the ice?
Good dude. He kind of sticks to himself off the ice. Doesn't really do a whole lot. Big homebody from what it seemed that year. But it was awesome to spend that year with him. He was obviously a super talented player, and he worked extremely hard. And it was awesome guy to have around the rink.
Yeah. And then you guys went on a playoff run that year. Can you tell us about that run and like how far you guys made it and how you played personally?
Yeah. So during the year, didn't really see much past the fourth line. So yeah, probably about 8 minutes a game, maybe at most, up until actually first round of playoffs. So we ended up finishing second in our division that year behind PA. PA had an outstanding year. They had a great team. And we played Moose Jaw in the first round, ended up sweeping them. So we got a couple of days off. Prince Albert won their series as well. So we were matched up against them in the second round. Kind of went back and forth for a few games. Then we took them to 6 and then ended up losing in their building, in our building in 6.
And that was the year that Oz won it all too, right?
Yeah, you're right. That was against Oz.
Yeah. So do you remember playing Ozzy when he was 16? Did he like play a lot?
Yeah, he played a lot. I think he was actually playing with Gregor and Fonstad. And Greg's is with the Sharks now. So
yeah, I see him every night on the projected second line. He's
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, moving forward, like the next season there with the Blades, your draft year, and you lit it up 33 goals, 73 points in just 62 games. So what changed, do you think, from the year before? Obviously, you said fourth line. So was it just ice time, confidence? Like, how did you find it?
Yeah, I think a bit of both, but I mean, ice time for sure helps. I was playing a lot bigger of a role. I was kind of playing in all situations. I got moved up to first power play and PK and just kind of all around. But we had a couple of guys step out or move on. Like Kirby was obviously playing for Chicago the next year, so there was a center ice spot that opened up, and that's what I kind of slid into there. But I think I could probably accredit a lot of it to just opportunity and ice time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it makes a huge difference. And like, so were you guys like, did you kind of like know he was going to make it going third overall, or were you like, who knows, like he could be back, like I might be second line center and kind of have to play behind him, or was it a sure thing?
Back in Saskatoon, we had no idea actually. We were kind of talking through camp whether he was going to stay or go, and at the time we were talking with him too, and he really didn't know either. So it was it was a weird time for sure.
Yeah. So then obviously you were a late birthday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you kind of peaked at the right time, perfect time for the draft year, in the 2020 draft, and you go second round to the San Jose Sharks. And that's obviously, for the listeners who didn't piece it together, that's how me and Robby know each other. But just tell us about draft day and the moment you were picked.
Draft day was awesome. It was kind of in the height of COVID where I was living, so it was a little bit harder to get things like a big gathering in your family. But we made it work. My grandparents, my auntie and uncle came over. Wasn't really sure where I was going to end up, to be honest. Didn't also know where the range was either. Where I was going to get picked. So we were watching excitingly and tentatively at the screen every single pick, and lucky enough to go to a great organization like San Jose, and everyone just jumped into the air and started screaming. And my phone kind of blew up after that. The first person that called was actually Dougie Jr.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so that kind of leads right into the next thing too. I was gonna ask, like, did you have a lot of contact with San Jose? Like, did you talk to all of them before?
There was 3 teams that I really thought I was going to go to. It was either Philly, Anaheim, or San Jose. And they had picks that were pretty close together in the second round. So I was like, okay, well, that's kind of where I think I'm going to end up. And then Anaheim took their pick, Philly took their pick. And I'm like, well, this might be it right here.
That's awesome. So how many times would you say you talked to San Jose before?
I think maybe 5 or 6, 2 or 3 Zoom calls, I think.
Oh yeah. So it's getting serious. So they had a good interest. And those interviews are pretty laid back and they're good. Like when I spoke with Dougie Jr. as well. Like it was nice. Like it's almost like refreshing. It's like you're just talking to like a guy who loves the game as well, and you're just kind of sharing stories and stuff like that almost.
Yeah, exactly. I think Dougie called me in one of those zero gravity recliners one day, just shooting the shit.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy, and I think who was it on a few weeks ago? It was Lenny on last week, Ras, that was talking about how Junior was such a beauty on the phone and stuff. So
even when I met him that time at the game, man, we were just talking all game. He was talking about the pod, about lacrosse, about his hair. Like he's such a personable guy. He's like, it's awesome.
Yeah, super easy to talk to.
Yeah, he's a good guy to have in an organization for sure. And so did you take any like funny or unique draft questions or interviews from teams that kind of stood out?
I had one, I think it was a questionnaire from, I don't remember what team.
The Islanders.
I was honestly just going to say the Islanders, but I don't really remember. I think it was the Islanders. I really think it was, but it was like a psychology test almost. And I've never taken a psych class in my life, and I was reading it, and it was like giving me situations and what I would do, and it was weird, man. But I don't know. I guess whatever the process they have obviously works, but yeah, I was so confused the whole time.
Yeah. So what episode is this for us, Ras? 59, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if this is the 59th, I think that's the at least 55th time we've heard that it's a little weird, the stuff the Islanders have given the boys for questionnaires. But yeah, that was definitely the Islanders, because we've heard that one, like I said, a million times.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's classic. I mean, yeah, we do hear it all the time. We even talked about it last week. We had an Islanders pick last week. That's what it was. And he was giving us some of those questions. But I mean, the following season after that, you got to play up with the San Jose Barracuda in the AHL because of the COVID situation. And can you tell us about that experience and how long were you there for?
It was awesome. I was there for just over 2 months. Wow. Started off in Chandler, Arizona, because Bay County was shut down. Mm-hmm. So Ozzy and I flew out actually kind of together. Went to Chandler. We're in a hotel, and then we had to do like a quarantine because COVID was, spiking everywhere. Then did a 7-day quarantine. I think we were told, and then we had to test, and if we were all negative, so then we were allowed to skate. So we started skating, but there was only about a group of 8 or 9 of us. Super weird. We're like, oh, this is like camp? Like, what's going on? Because we weren't really given too many details. But I guess it was like pre-CUDA camp sort of thing. Because the Sharks were in Scottsdale, and we just had all the guys who were either on one-way A deals or, draft picks like Ozzy and myself. And so we were just twirling around with JMac cards. JMac was there with us. And pretty much just doing skills for like 2 weeks. It was almost like just going out for sticks and pucks there for a little while. It was crazy.
That's awesome though. That's sweet. Like, and like, especially like just to get away from like Canada during those times and kind of go.
Yeah.
It was probably so nice. Like, what were you guys doing on your downtime in
Arizona? It was nuts. The hotel we were at had a sweet pool and a hot tub. And in Arizona, it was 24, 25 degrees every day, all sun. There was a basketball court close by, so a couple of us would go play ball and then go back and swim and just hang out. So we'd skate for an hour in the morning and do a workout, and then we'd have the whole rest of the day to do nothing. So a bunch of times actually went golfing too. Saw some sweet courses there in AZ.
Yeah, that's the life right there. And you're the best part about all of it is you're getting paid on top of that too. No.
Yeah.
Oh man, you're living the life down there.
It was nice. It was really nice.
And you found your way into a couple games there too. So can you tell us about that experience and how you found the level of play?
Yeah, the games were awesome. We had some crazy hiccups. I don't know if you guys heard about what happened in Texas there, kind of in February. They had this massive snowstorm.
Oh yeah.
Shut everything down. Pipes bursted everywhere. We were stuck in the hotel for 3 days just because we literally couldn't even leave. So that was wild, but the play was fun. I played my first couple games against Tucson. I knew a couple guys on that team as well, so it made it even that more exciting. But I think the biggest change was probably the level of physicality. I don't think it's a whole lot quicker, but everyone's just, you're playing against men compared to boys, so I think that's probably the biggest difference.
Yeah. Now, I'm also just curious. This one just came to me. They're obviously they're bringing you there as a guy they kind of want to groom into an NHL player. You're there to learn. You're there for 2 months. So what kinds of things would you say that you learned from your time there? Like, watching games, being around pros.
I think just how they prepare, and every little thing they do, whether that's, nutrition or body maintenance, just all the little things I think that kind of go unseen behind the scenes, is really important.
So it was New Year's Day of 2021 that you signed. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
So tell us about that, like how you got the news that you'd be signing and what you did when you signed.
Well, yeah, pretty happy New Year.
Yeah, not a
So
bad
I
start,
got the
honestly.
Yeah, what a good start. I got the call from my agent in the morning, just saying that San Jose wrote up an offer, and so I went over it with him, and obviously you don't want to pass up on an NHL contract, so kind of got things sorted out there. Got on the phone, or I guess a Zoom call with San Jose's management, and kind of sealed the deal there. And then yeah, got things sorted with all that. And at the time, I was still in quarantine, so we got down there on December 27th. So that was only 4 days or 4 or 5 days after. So we're all quarantining still, and I got an NHL contract while I'm sitting in my hotel room, not allowed to leave. So it was interesting, but very exciting.
Yeah, that's quite the story. Did you like reward yourself, make any big purchases after that?
This one's pretty funny, but as soon as I got things sorted out and whatever, I went out when we were out of quarantine. There was a Target down the street, and so I went and bought a nice Wilson basketball, and we went and balled up for a couple hours. Me and a couple of the guys.
That's unreal. Just while we're on the topic of money, have you heard about our partners at Gavin Hockey Well Specialists? Do you know who they are?
No, I do not.
Okay, well, for you and for the listeners, the Gavin Hockey Well Specialists, they're the best money managers in the NHL. Tons of NHL clients. They'll take care of your investments, taxes, do whatever they have to do, get you set up so that when you're done playing hockey, you never have to work a day for the rest of your life, and they'll keep you on track with your spending and keep you grounded. So just want to shout out Gavin. You can check them out at gavingroup.ca. And yeah, they're the best in the business. Also, just they're former hockey players themselves, so they've been there, they get it. And yeah, cards.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Best in the business. I mean, I don't have the money to actually speak from experience, but all of our guests, for sure, they're the best guys in the world too. So definitely check them out if you're a young hockey player coming up through the ranks. But I mean, back on topic, we'll bring it to this season because it's been a stellar one so far, and we talked about it a little bit earlier. But you're putting up good numbers in Saskatoon now, and I saw kind of when you went back at first, you came out blazing hot out of the gates. It was like you had like 13 points in like what 3-4 games or something. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, something like that. I had a good start.
So is it just being a veteran, like you've been in the league for so long now, like second round pick, signed in the NHL, you've played AHL games, like you've done it all kind of now. So is that contributing to your success, you think?
Yeah, I think just the extended period of time I spent down there, even just being able to practice with the pros, really helped a lot. And I like you said before, just having the experience, being an older guy, coming back and kind of grooming the younger guys on how things kind of roll. But yeah, the time that I spent, all the ice time that I had with the pros for sure helps coming back.
Yeah, definitely. Like being a leader too, how you kind of
Yeah.
doing with that. Like, do you like it better kind of having a leadership role and kind of taking the younger guys under your wing?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Cause I know, I guess you guys all know what it's like to be a young guy, coming up, and, sometimes it's not the easiest to speak up, or, you stay quiet for a year or two, but, I love
Not
making the young
Cardsy.
guys feel welcome. Yeah, not Cardsy. I love making the younger guys feel welcome though, and making them feel comfortable.
No, yeah, for sure. And you seem like the perfect guy to kind of be a leader on your team and kind of take them under your wing. But and I mean, like, with how do you find the pace of play? Like, obviously you said that it's not as like physical or anything, but like so you played AHL games last year, and like you even went out for the playoffs a bit after, and then you have a full year of like off season training. So like physically, do you feel like you're more dominant than you've ever been in that league?
Yeah, I think so. it's for sure different, obviously, than the AHL or even practicing with the NHL team. But I push myself every year in the summer because you always want to get bigger and stronger. And I think I made a lot of gains actually last summer. Put on some good weight. Got faster, and so yeah, every single year I think that's a big part of I guess what I want to continue to do in the future is just the off ice.
Yeah, definitely going to be a key piece, and you're always looking good with the tats too. You're all tatted up. The body's always looking sharp, right? But we always do some segments now to kind of like, we talk about the hockey, and then we want to kind of learn who you are as a person and let our fans kind of get the inside scoop on who Tristen Robins is. So we'll start in our personality questions. So
All right.
how would your teammates describe you?
I think my teammates would describe me as a very energetic person. I think I'm one of those guys who love to keep the room light and make some jokes and get everyone smiling.
Yeah, there's no other way to be, really. Can't be a hard all. Yeah, this is too much effort. But favorite ice cream flavor?
Chocolate chip cookie dough, without a doubt.
Oh, quick with the answer too.
Good man. Yeah. How do you eat a cupcake?
Ooh, one bite for sure.
Just gonna down it.
Absolutely.
What if it's like a monster cupcake? Like, how are you?
I'm gonna try my very best, but I don't know. I love those little ones that you could just pop.
Yeah,
like
the one bite. You guys ever have those one bite brownies?
Yeah, those are good.
Oh,
yeah.
Those might be like the best snack there is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're good. You do all the off-season training and then throw about 7,000 carbs and just sugar in your body. That's good for it.
Right to the barrel.
Yeah. What would you do with your life if you couldn't be a hockey player?
I liked school a lot, actually. Ironic enough, because I guess hockey players aren't really known to be school guys, but probably some sort of engineering. I think that's kind of the path I want to go down.
Ooh, we're dealing with a brainiac here, Rask. So then actually this isn't even involved with it at all, but it just came to my head. Like, was NCAA a thought ever?
Yeah, so I know I mentioned my height and weight to you guys a little bit earlier when I was 16. And, when you're 16, 17, that's when they're doing their big recruiting. I didn't get a sniff, man.
Oh, really?
No, I didn't get a sniff. But yeah, that was actually my first, I guess, wish or thought was to go NCAA. But NCAA didn't want me.
Wow.
Well, it looks like it's worked out for you so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
Burned them in the long run. So what would your dream school have been?
I had no idea. At the time I didn't really do enough research to realize what program would have suited me best. But probably an Ivy League school. I think I could have got a pretty good academic scholarship, I think.
There you go. So you're set. We got this is probably our first guy who's just came out and said, "Yeah, I'm a school guy. Like, I'm good if hockey doesn't work out." So,
yeah, he'll survive.
It's good to hear the hockey world has some hope beyond hockey. So, last one for this segment: if you were stranded on an island for a month with 3 members of the San Jose Sharks organization, who would you want them to be?
Ooh, I think one of them's got to be Brent Burns. I feel like he just knows what he's doing in the wilderness.
Oh yeah.
I think that's got to be a staple.
Uh-huh.
Probably Lane Peterson, because I know him really well. Him and I are boys. Have good times with him. And I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a good one to bring on. That'd be a good asset.
Yeah, you need your assets. Like, you're the smart
asset.
guy. Yeah. Burns would be unreal in the wilderness for sure.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think I need to do some more serious deep studying on the guys then and figuring out who I can bring along that'd help.
Yeah, and that's one of the first guys ever too. That just shows that you are a smart guy. You're using your brain to think who you actually need rather than who you just want to shoot shit with.
Thorough research.
Yeah, I know this actually, and this segment that we're going into now, I actually really like this one. I mean, it was our first time doing it last week, so I'll let Rask kind of take the reins here.
Yeah, I just put this one in last week. We'll keep it going, see if it goes well, maybe add some new questions and stuff, but it's just this or that questions. Like, we'll snap it around quick. I'll just say it. You say your answer. We move on to the next one quick.
All right.
I got like 8 or 9. So, black tape or white tape?
White tape.
Far down or 5 hole?
Fire down.
Shoot first or pass first?
Shoot first.
Hot weather or cold weather?
Hot weather.
Okay. Weights or cardio?
Weights, absolutely.
Hot, hot coffee or cold coffee?
Cold coffee. I don't drink hot coffee.
Okay. San Jose's liking this so far. Snapchat or Instagram?
Instagram.
Okay. Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
All right. There we go. This or that.
Are you binging anything right now on Netflix?
Yeah, actually, well, not really binging, but I started watching it again. There's a new show, Lock and Key.
Really? I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it's nothing crazy. It's a Netflix original, just a sci-fi about a house that I guess has like these keys that do crazy things.
That's wild. That's
yeah,
cool.
it's interesting. It's a little slow off the start, but it gets pretty good.
Yeah, there you go. Lock and Key for anybody who's looking for some lockdown special in Ontario to get through these tough times for sure. But and then we want to move it into our fan questions now. So we got an overwhelming amount. So you must be a man of the people because they came out hot with the questions for you. But we could only choose a select few.
Actually, I want to jump in quick because you did already answer it. I wasn't gonna put it in, but the first one was, "Are you single?"
No, I have a girlfriend. I'm actually in her room right now.
Big girlfriend guy too. How long have you been with her?
Almost 2 years.
There you go. That's good stuff. A true love story, folks. First one, stick specs and stick.
Stick specs. So I have a mid-max blade. I'll start there, which is just a little bit bigger than stock. I use kind of in between a P90 and a P90T. So it's like a normal, I guess, like Sakic or Crosby curve, but with a bit more toe. Stick lie would probably be a 5, pretty standard. And I'd get a rounded shaft. So a C shaft, it's called, and triple layer bubble grip on top of that.
I only understood like one of those things.
Yeah, no, I probably could have done a better job explaining it, but
no,
that's
the stick nerds will
short
know, and
version.
they'll be buying that right now. I guarantee it.
So, like you said, you like school and everything. Like, are you a hockey nerd in the sense your gear has to be perfect how you want it and stuff?
I guess like kind of in a way, but not perfect. Just really beaten up. Like I hate new stuff. Really hate it. So like the stuff that I have right now, like the shoulder pads and elbow pads and shin pads, I got when I was 14 from, or I guess 15 from the Pats. Very first set I've ever gotten from a team, and I still wear them.
Murph won't be having that for long.
No, he actually gave me grief when I was down there about my shoulder pads cards because I've had the Velcro everywhere sewn on 2 or 3 times.
just won't deviate.
No, cannot.
Yeah, I'm the same way too, though. I'm using stuff from my first year as well. And actually, did you see Murph was the backup for the CUDA the other day?
No way.
Yeah, he was the backup goalie the other day for the CUDA in Stockton.
Dude, I thought I recognized because I saw a little clip on the Instagram or Twitter or something, and I was like, wow, that looks a lot like Murph. I'm like, no chance that's Murph. It's just someone who really looks like him. Like,
sure
enough, yeah, holy man.
That's awesome. Yeah, you got to go look it up. It was hilarious. He wore number 22. I was laughing, but what awesome. A good guy though to go in for if they needed him.
Absolutely.
But moving on here, I guess that kind of took a while for our first question. Next one, pregame meal.
Probably chicken, quinoa, and broccoli.
Nice. Any superstitions?
Nothing crazy. No, just a pregame nap, maybe. That's not really a superstition, but just a good pregame nap.
And I know we talked about Kirby Doc. So what's it like playing with Colton Doc?
It was good. They're completely different people and players, so it was kind of cool to see the other side of the family. Kirby was a big pass first guy. Colton's a big shoot first guy. So like complete opposite ends of the spectrum. But yeah, there's some similarities. Colton's a lot more loud than Kirby. Yeah.
That's interesting. No, you see that a lot though too with siblings. They're not often like the perfect match, or like not I don't even know. I'm butchering my words at this point, but
different.
you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Different. And then last but not least from me, I don't know if Rask has any more, but favorite hockey memory if you had to pinpoint one.
Well, right now I think it's pretty hard to beat draft day. That was an awesome day for me and my family. But there was a game growing up. I was super young, like 9 or 10. It was just like a triple overtime winner. I ended up getting it. I scored it like sliding on the ice. It was like a classic, like 10-year-old shoving the puck in the net. But that was pretty awesome. We got to skate around with my first trophy ever around the rink after that. Nice victory lap for, the 20 fans that were in the stands, maybe.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that or draft day.
Yeah, you're putting on a show for large crowds since a young age. So that's good. Actually, something just popped into my head, and I remember we were sitting together at rookie tournament in Arizona, and you were telling me about your skates, and that kind of goes back to like you need things beaten up. So can you kind of tell everybody like how many pairs of skates you'll go through a year and like the purpose behind them and stuff?
Yeah. So like I said, like I really hate new stuff, and I kind of kicked myself in the foot with this one. That no pun intended. But yeah, so I like really soft skates because I hate breaking them in. So I order my skates extra soft. But the issue with that is they break down a lot quicker because I tie them so tight. So usually on average, I'll go through about a pair of skates every 3 to 4 months.
Wow.
And I'm on the opposite side of the spectrum on that because like I got my trainer today to like glue my toe cap on because it was like falling off. Like soon I'm gonna be skating around with like sandals on the ice, like if I'm not careful. So we're just trying to glue it on to keep my foot safe. But yeah, that's crazy. I was like, wow. So you're going through like 3 or 4 pairs a year, but yeah,
no problem in the show though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you get there, you're for sure.
I mean, yeah, like from me, this has been a great interview. I don't really have anything else to add. It was just a pleasure meeting you and chatting with you. I think this was a great one, and I'll let Cards finish up. But I appreciate you taking the time, man.
Sweet, yeah. Thank you so much for having me, man. It was nice meeting you.
Yeah, and Robo, I know I kind of been messing around with the time, screwing with your night. I know you got to go have supper and stuff. So, but just a pleasure to have you on. Really appreciate you taking the time today, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Yeah, of course, Cards. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Robby, for that one. And like, that was an awesome interview. He spoke really well, told some funny stories, and he's so nice, man. And like, when you think about it, every Western guy we've had on and that I've met so far, they're all so nice. We had Braden Schneider on a while back. That was a great episode, by the way. Anyone wants to listen to that. But they're all these guys. Like, I remember after the Schneider interview, I was like, wow, that's such a nice guy. And I said the same thing after this one. Just, he's such a nice dude. And all these Western guys, I swear they make nicer people out there.
Yeah, all these Ontario guys and guys out east, just massive jerks. So
just dicks, man.
Yeah, we don't. No, but no, yeah, like you said, like when I first met Robo, Robby, whatever you want to call him, he was a great guy. Just off the get go, we kind of just were shooting the shit and just a great dude overall. So we kept in touch, and obviously nice to catch up with him on the pod. And it kind of sparked my head to get him on when I saw like. When we did the Aussie episode a while back, I think San Jose retweeted it, and I was reading through the comments, and somebody said you should get Tristen Robins on. It would be a great interview, and sure enough, obviously, you guys have all listened to it now. A great spoken young man and a guy with a bright future ahead of him with the Sharks. So I'm looking forward to hopefully playing with him in the next coming years. Obviously, a great dude and a good teammate. So it was a great interview.
Yeah, and maybe we get another retweet out of San Jose. Who knows? 800,000 followers, not bad. But yeah, I was thinking about this last week. For like, we're obviously at the tail end of the episode here, and for anyone who's still sticking around at this part of the episode, I just want to say that we appreciate you, right? Cards, like, you stick around this long and listen to us talk for an hour, like, we appreciate you.
Yeah, no, and actually, you know what's funny too, Rask? So I was on my way home like to Barrie the other day, and it's an hour 15, and you and I like to do our homework. We'll listen to other podcasts and try to get tidbits and stuff from them that we can take to our part and just kind of learn and stuff like that. So I'm listening to a podcast, and I'm like, wow, like this is good. This is good entertainment. Like the drive went so much quicker, so I feel like we're doing people a little bit of a service sometimes if they are on a long road trip looking for something to listen to, maybe on the bus or all that. So I just that was the first time it really clued into me.
Yeah, that's what Drink said when we had him on, that he's always commuting from SAG to Barrie. And he just throws on Showbound episodes and it makes the drive feel like it's nothing. Remember, he said that. Good compliment.
Yeah, no, it's a great compliment, especially hearing that he's not sick and tired of my voice after he had to hear it for a few years. So
Yeah, after you step in the locker room at 16 screaming and taking charge. But I mean, we've been going a bit. Is there anything you kind of want to add here, or what's going on?
no, I just want to say that I feel bad for every Ontarian out there right now with this lockdown we're going back into again. But I just want to wish everyone the best. Have a happy and healthy few weeks here. Just try to get through this. It's going to be brighter days ahead in the coming weeks as we keep our fingers crossed and hopefully moving along. Rask, I want to wish you all the best with your fight to get the OUA back instated and into the sporting events. And to everyone, just have an amazing week, and we'll be back with you next time.